Hmm. Where do I begin? We first heard whispers of Elden Ring in 2016. It was a short time after Dark Souls 3 was concluded, and everyone thought it was some fairy tale never to see the light of day. And now here we all are, with the game in our hands, literally, and well, I'm speechless. And that's why I say, where do I begin to talk about this mythical masterpiece, crafted by the gods themselves, George R.R. Martin and Hidetaka Miyazaki. I'm sorry if I butchered his name. I don't know how to say Hidetaka. To what extent George worked on it, I have no idea. He could have pissed in its general direction, and that's it. I literally have no idea. I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea how much George worked on it. Pretty sure he only worked on like the world, like at the beginning, and then that was it. He hasn't touched it since, like in years, I'm pretty sure. But what I do know is that every single part of this game is filled to the brim with the love and sweat of FromSoft. But I'd expect nothing less from this company. They're some of the best in the business, and that's why I find it so hard to say that I don't want an Elden Ring 2. I think that they took a step in the wrong direction with this game. Now, before you click off this video and try to find where I live so you can turkey slap me across the face or whatever, just hear me out. Before I continue though, I would just like to preface that I adore From Software, and they hold a special place in my heart. I have played every game that they have made since Demon's Souls. Demon's Souls. But actually, that's not a total 100% true either actually. I have not played Sekiro, but I intend to. It's not that I don't want to play Sekiro, I just haven't got around to it with, other games and life. Life takes place sometimes, But yeah, everything that I say in this video is coming from a place of love. So, with that out of the way, let's commence my honest review of Elden Ring after 100%ing it. Elden Ring's entire storyline is explained to you in the opening cutscene, but you just don't understand it yet. Once you start your New Game Plus run and watch it again, or a New Game playthrough, you're like, holy shit, I understand it all. But you still don't. Understanding a From Software game is like understanding the universe. You'll never fully understand it. But no one goes into a From Software game for the story. You're more fascinated by the ideas that are put into place rather than the story. Sure, I would love to play a Game of Thrones-like story on paper. That sounds amazing. But the pieces that need to go into place to do that means very well executed cutscenes on the level of The Last of Us.
Not her,
What?
Maria told me about Sarah.
Ellie?
And
You are treading on some mighty thin ice here.
I'm sorry about your daughter, Joel. But I have lost people too.
You have no idea what loss is.
Everyone I have cared for has either died or left me. Everyone fucking except for you. So don't tell me that I would be safer with someone else, because the truth is I would just be more scared.
The cutscenes, mind you, From Software make are orgasmic to look at, but it isn't From Software's, MO or nature to do cutscenes that we would need for a story like Game of Thrones. And nobody wants pages of sleeper dialogue like Dying Light 2 has most recently orchestrated. So yeah, overall, I think Elden Ring's main story did exactly what it set out to do, and I really enjoyed it, even though there's not much that happens in terms of story in the main plot when you're following along. Like, all the cool shit you hear happens before, and there's some cool stuff like, Radahn, where you fight him and then stuff happens at the after you kill him. There's a sick cutscene, and then there's some story there that's really cool, and there's like you know, there's halfway, and there is a story that happens in Elden Ring, but it doesn't feel like a story like Last of Us. It doesn't feel like a story. I don't really know how to freaking explain this. I feel like people understand what I'm trying to say. Like, there's a story, but there's like not a story. You're not really following the story. I feel like I don't really know. I feel like I know what I'm saying, but you probably don't know what I'm fucking saying. You probably think I'm speaking out of my ass. Let's just move on. But NPC storylines need to be worked on, and have gotten worse from previous games. NPC storylines are just too freaking hard to follow, and now with open world making it almost impossible to do them all in one playthrough, or to even to do any without a guide for that matter, because some storylines are so concise and will make you rest at a grace over and over again to trigger events to happen in an area you are already in. All I ask is you give us a tab where we can follow all possible storylines so that we at least know that we are missing something, and a hint maybe on what needs to be done next. But they did in a recent update add NPC markers on the map, which is definitely a step in the right direction and a massive quality of life. But when the storylines are actually, you know, unfolding and taking place, they feel so special. They're freaking awesome. I'm gonna tell you right now, they're awesome. It's just doing them is just such a pain, I feel like, for no reason. I just really wish they just made it a little bit easier. Like, one of my favorite areas in the game is Volcano Manor. As you run into this faction of people, and the game is just like, you know, here you go. Here's 7 NPCs you can talk to, and watch all these stories unfold, and they send you on these hunts for other Tarnished, and you become a sort of bounty hunter, until you become worthy to meet the demigod in that area. But this is all optional. You can skip this entire NPC storyline, all the storylines, and just go fight the demigod via like a secret passage in the castle, whenever you want, which is fine. But to be honest, I think the entire questline was just so fun, and my only complaint is it ended too fast. Which brings me to the Round Table Hold. It's a great hub, don't get me wrong. It is missing that absolute banger of an OST DS2 has in Majula. And it definitely isn't my favorite hub by a long shot. For story purposes, the hub isn't slowly filled with more NPCs as you meet new ones like the games before it, but instead emptied. Yeah, you'll meet new NPCs here and they will come in, but by the end, you only have like 3 NPCs that you need, like the shopkeeper, the blacksmith, and the summon tinkerer. I can't remember her name right now, but you know who I'm talking about, I hope. But yeah, that's really it, I feel like. And I don't like that. I honestly prefer the idea of slowly building up a community of people like previous From Software games have done. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe there is a way of getting like all NPCs in the Round Table Hold, but in my experience, I've just had every single NPC leave, and I've done like, I think 3 playthroughs now. So, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I just realized that I just have like nothing good to say about the Round Table Hold and kind of feel bad. It's not that the hub world is, you know, bad. It's more like it doesn't do anything spectacular like previous hubs, and is simply only doing the bare minimum it's required to do. The other day, I was sitting down, eating breakfast. Breakfast is good. I love breakfast. Horizon Forbidden West had just been released, and I was choosing not to play it yet because Elden Ring was coming out, and I wanted to take my time with both of these games, because I really did enjoy the first Horizon. And then I was scrolling through my YouTube feed, and I saw Donkey's review of Forbidden West. And, you know, I love Donkey's videos. I find the guy hilarious, and for the most part, when he's serious, I think he has some valid points. So here I am, watching his video, and he says this.
I've already played 4 open world games, and we're not even 2 months into this year.
This really stuck with me. No, it's not revolutionary. We didn't solve world hunger or anything, and it's not like it's just me and Donkey over here going, open world bad, yuck. There's lots of other people saying it. So once Elden Ring was released, and we all got these 10 out of 10s to look at, I was super freaking stoked to be seeing it, but then I was thinking, and it hit me. Holy shit. If Elden Ring is receiving all this praise, other people are going to want to follow in their footsteps, meaning we're going to see even more open world games than we're already freaking seeing. But Nick, you might be asking, what do you actually think of the open world? Well, Timmy boy, I'll tell ya. Elden Ring is one of the best open world experiences you will ever have. The map is insanely big, and really feels like a map created by old Georgie boy. It does remind me very much of Westeros, and when you're in the world, it really feels like you're exploring a real world. I feel that's the wrong term. Yeah, it's a real world. You find fragments of the maps to make the map bigger. Nothing ever appears on your map unless you find it first, feeling like you're an explorer marking points of interest as you find it in the game. And the only times that stuff is marked on your map is when an NPC specifically tells you to go to a location, feeling like they grabbed your map and drew a dot on it for you. And no other game has ever done open world this well. Oh, this way, I think I want to put it, not this well. But that's where I must stop. Although I love the open world, I must say I think the open world is actually just too big, if I'm being honest, which usually isn't a complaint. But yeah, seriously, just to me, I think the world itself just need to be smaller, and sometimes had things in it for the sake of being big. Now this leads me to my biggest point being, I would have preferred they never went to open world, in which they stuck to the amazing formula they already had. As I think back on Bloodborne and Dark Souls, and can't help but think about how much better it feels to explore the world the way it was designed in those games. So all I hope is that in Bloodborne 2, whatever game they make next, it goes back to the original roots, and Elden Ring's games can be open world, kind of like how Mario does 2D and 3D. The 100% for this game is pretty easy, but when I mean easy, I just mean the 100% itself is easy. The game is obviously hard. The 100% on average, I think, can be done in around 65 hours, I want to say. I did it in around 80, but that's because I did everything I possibly could in the game, not looking at the trophies till the end. Thankfully, this game doesn't have stupid covenants like Dark Souls and doesn't require hours upon hours of farming for covenant items, or even doing PvP for that matter. This game doesn't require you to do much at all, even in the open world. All it requires is the main bosses pretty much, which is kind of disappointing. I would have liked a trophy requiring every boss to be killed, but that's just me. Trophies you need to look out for is the Legendary Armaments trophy, as there's a missable item and you don't want to be like me and have to speedrun halfway through the game just to grab one item. Then there's the ending trophies, which can be all done very easily by making saves and getting all the endings at once at the end, which I would definitely recommend. Also make sure to leave the Frenzied Flame ending until last, as this locks you out of all other endings and can be easily triggered by going into the sewers in an alternate save at the end. And then besides the main ending, you need to do Rani's storyline for the option of the Age of Stars ending at the end. All other endings are not needed. That's all I have to say about the 100%. There's really not much to say, I'm being honest. Moving on. The gameplay is amazing. FromSoft continues to improve upon every game with its gameplay. You can see a bit of every game they have made in the next, and that is even more so here. The amount of weapons and spells in this game is insane. You could grab 100 random people that have played this game, and all 100 of them could have a different method of killing a boss. Whether it's a different melee weapon, weapon art, ranged weapon, spell, summon, help from NPCs, or even real people. Or crafting items. I'm joking. No one fucking uses crafting items. But yeah, the list just keeps on freaking going. The accessibility and diversity in this game is nothing to sneeze at. That's for sure. But with that out of the way, that's where my problems come into play. Having summons so heavily built into the game was one of the worst ideas From Software's ever come up with. So much so that the Mimic tier is so broken it can 1v1 entire bosses. It's just a joke. I never thought in a million years I would have to make rules for myself in a From Software game to make it more difficult and feel more like a Dark Souls game. I was so used to it using everything possible at my disposal to live. Yes, in every other From Software game, I have always never used summons, but with the summons in this game, they're just so heavily built into the game. I just think it's the wrong call. I don't like the idea of having a summon just to face tank all these attacks while I wallop off damage. But luckily this sad feeling of Elden Ring was giving me faded away once I did an entire run using no summons. And I would definitely recommend trying to stay away from summons as much as possible for an overall just better experience. Because the bosses in this game are amazing. Every boss for the most part feels great, and my worry of the game feeling like Dark Souls 2 in terms of boss design was for the most part off, which is just amazing to say, except for 3 problems. I knew that we're going to see a lot of duplicate bosses in this game. For example, we see the Erdtree avatar and the dragon boss a shit ton, and that's fine, but the problem is with these bosses is, if you have fought one of them, you have fought all of them. Aside from like the Erdtree boss doing some poison or some shit on the ground, and the dragon breathing out something else besides fire. Yes, mind you, the dragon does have some unique moves every now and then, but other than that, you have fought these bosses, and there's a lot of that in this game, for the sake of more content. Now, obviously, there's other unique dragons like the Placidusax, but we aren't talking about that dragon. We're talking about the generic archetype of dragon, which we see over and over again, which leads me on to my next point. One of the worst methods of difficulty is chucking two bosses you have already fought by themselves into an arena together. And Elden Ring does this worse than Dark Souls 2. Yeah, I said the unthinkable. Don't fucking hate me for it, I'm sorry. The problem is, From Software balanced the game around summons being in the game. So they thought doing unthinkable stuff like chucking two hard bosses in an area or making Malenia spin her dick around for 10 seconds is okay because, oh, your summon can tank it. And it doesn't need to be fairly balanced like Ornstein and Smog. And this philosophy is absolute trash, and all I can do is blame the dumb asses asking for easier difficulty. It's literally all your fault, and I fucking hate you for it because this game has made a joke with summons, and it makes me miserable just thinking about it. This is all I'm going to say on this note before I blow a freaking fuse. On a positive note, most unique bosses feel incredible and are some of the best bosses From Software have ever chucked our way. Even with Malenia's ridiculous attack, but just why, FromSoft? Why? Malenia would still be one of the hardest bosses in the game without that bullshit attack. Whatever. Moving on. You know what? While we're here, let's be little bitches. Let's complain about some more stuff. Like, does anybody else just get so freaking pissed when you're riding around minding your own business, opening the map, then all of a sudden 3 minutes ago you rode past an enemy and you're still trying to open your map? Like, bruh, let me open my fucking map. Like, I get it, you think I'm trying to be some bitch and fast travel away from an enemy, but like, there's another way to do this. Surely let me open my map whenever and just disable fast travel. God damn. And oh my god, whose idea was it to make it switching between two-handing so hard? Like, why do I gotta click two buttons now? I'm sitting here trying to switch weapons in an intense fight and I'm over here swinging at air because I clicked the buttons too fast. Oh, and don't even get me started on the amount of freaking different poison in this game. Like, Jesus, Miyazaki was like, oh, we made poison tolerable, you can craft it whenever you want, super easy. But now there's like 7 different effects that eat at my health, and I repeat, you will never have any of the balls to save you from Scarlet Rot. Like, what's up with that? And then talking about crafting, that shit is so useless. Not a single fucking person that's played this game used the crafting section besides making fucking poison balls and an oil pot for Alexander. After all I said, you know, we all know that this game is still a masterpiece. None of what I just said takes that away. I love this game, and sometimes loving a game allows you to see the cracks in its design. 9 out of 10. Too much open though. Anyways, that's all from me, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to subscribe on YouTube and follow my Twitch. Stay weary, everyone. Anyways, that's all from me, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to subscribe on YouTube and follow my Twitch. Stay weary, everyone.